This is Lynn Rebuck with AirshowTeamTV News. We have breaking news today from the NTSB regarding the crash of Rob Holland that occurred last week at Langley Air Force Base. Just moments ago, the NTSB released its initial report into the crash. I'll read that report to you. On April 24th, about 11:35 Eastern Daylight Time, an MX aircraft Tech Pty Ltd MXS airplane N number 530RH was substantially damaged when it was involved in an accident at Langley Air Force Base, LFI, Hampton, Virginia. The pilot was fatally injured. The airplane was operated as a Title 14 Code of Federal Regulations Part 91 personal flight. It originated from Smyrna Airport, MQW, Smyrna, Tennessee, and was destined for LFI, where the pilot intended to perform an aerobatic routine during an upcoming air show. Multiple witnesses stated that they observed the airplane on approach to land on runway 08 at LFI. The airplane made a normal approach to the runway, and when it was over the runway, it leveled off about 50 feet above the runway and flew straight down the runway for several hundred feet. The airplane then porpoised twice, pitched straight up, rolled 90 degrees to the left, and descended to ground impact. The single-seat aerobatic airplane was issued a special airworthiness certificate in the experimental category for the purpose of exhibition and air racing by the Federal Aviation Administration on July 26, 2019. The pilot collaborated with the manufacturer to modify the airplane to his specifications, which included an access hole on the left and right elevator to insert counterweights to adjust elevator feel depending on the aerobatic routine performed. An aluminum threaded plug was used to access the counterweight hole. The report continues. The airplane came to rest on a heading of 150 degrees in a grass ditch about 100 feet from the left side of the runway 08 and 500 feet beyond the approach threshold. All major components of the airplane were accounted for at the accident site. The left elevator counterweight plug was not installed and was located about 10 feet behind the wreckage in the grass. Dirt consistent with that found in the vicinity of the accident was identified on the elevator, as well as in the counterbore and threaded area where the counterweight plug would have been installed. The counterweight plug threads were intact and also contained similar dirt contamination consistent with that found on the elevator. Additionally, about half of the circumference of the left elevator counterweight plug displayed gouging, and there was evidence of paint transfer. The horizontal stabilizer structure and the plugs will be on our website. The report continues. The left wing remained attached to the fuselage. The left aileron was intact, though the outer section of the aileron was fractured at its hinge point. The right wing remained attached to the fuselage. The center fuel tank was breached, and both left and right fuel tanks were empty. The empennage was intact, and the left elevator was fractured off the outer hinge at the upper bracket that connected to the fuselage. The elevator trim tab was found in the full-up, nose-down position. The right elevator was intact and remained attached. The rudder was intact, and the bottom of the rudder was crushed. The cockpit and the instrument panel displayed impact-related damage, and several instruments were dislodged and located around the cockpit. The throttle grip was fractured off the side of the cockpit. The control column was fractured off the bottom hinge point. The canopy was fractured into several pieces that were located around the main wreckage. Flight control continuity was traced from the cockpit control stick to all flight control surfaces. The right aileron torque tube was fractured consistent with impact. Propeller blade hub remained attached to the engine crankshaft. 2 of the 3 propeller blades were broken off at the hub. The remaining propeller blades exhibited minor scarring, and the rear part of the oil sump air plenum was fractured. We will have the entire report on our website, AirshowTeam.tv. We will post that there shortly. The report continues. The rear part, the exhaust and intake tubes were crushed upwards. The top 2 engine mounts were separated from the engine case. The top spark plugs were removed and appeared normal as compared to the Champion Aviation chart AV27. When the engine crankshaft was rotated by hand, thumb compression was attained at all the cylinders and engine drivetrain continuity was confirmed throughout. The airplane's most recent condition inspection was completed on March 3rd, 2025 at a total airframe time of 1,062 hours. The pilot held an airline transportation pilot certificate with ratings for airplane single engine land, airplane single engine sea, airplane multi-engine land, and gliders. He also held flight instructor and ground instructor certificates. The pilot reported 15,387 hours of total flight experience on his most recent application for an FAA second-class medical certificate, which was issued on March 5th, 2025. That is the bulk of the preliminary report that was just released moments ago by the NTSB. The full report, they have already said, will not be available for about 12 to 18 months. But that is the preliminary report. It appears that the threaded plug and the counterweight issue is what's at the center of this crash. It is continuing to be investigated by the NTSB, the DoD, and the FAA. As any additional news becomes available, we will bring that to you. As many of you are aware, Rob was en route last Thursday, 1 week ago, from Smyrna to Langley to participate in the air show at Langley Air Force Base. He was on a normal approach on runway 8 and was not performing any aerobatic maneuvers at the time of the crash. It was a straightforward approach on runway 8 when his experimental MXS-RH aircraft crashed. The air show was held over the weekend, and performers paid tribute to Rob Holland. On Friday night before the air show started, they held a piano burn in his honor, and also during the air show, performers definitely made mention and paid honors and tribute to Rob with their performances. The U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds performed the Missing Man formation in Rob's honor. We will have more aviation news for you this evening. Tune into our lives from around the country and around the world. This is Lynn Rebuck reporting with this breaking news from the NTSB, releasing the preliminary report today. Thank you for tuning in.